not a walkthrough, playthrough, review, anything like that. It's just me playing the game badly so you can see what it looks like. Right then, my apologies to those of you who don't want to watch another Gran Turismo video, because I've got another Gran Turismo video to show you. Mainly because it's what I've been playing today and I haven't had time for retro stuff, or in fact been in the mood for retro stuff, because I've been playing Gran Turismo and enjoying it. So this is one of the 15-minute races in the International A thingy category, whatever. Oh god, yeah. I started off, where was the first one at? I can't remember. Was it Spa? May have been. And I did it in that freebie super duper Mercedes-Benz concept car thing, which turned out to be just too damned easy. And it ticks me off a little bit that that car is in the game, because does it exist in the real world? I get the feeling it doesn't, but it's like, you've got real cars like McLaren F1s and Veyrons and super duper mega hypercars, and they exist in the real world, and then Mercedes say, hey, yeah, we've got this concept thing, it doesn't really exist, but bung it in the game for us and it'll beat everything, and it makes them look really, really good. But if it doesn't exist, maybe it does exist, maybe they've made one, but yeah, whatever. So anyway, I did the first race in the 15-minute series thingy in that car and just walked it. It was too easy. So for the next race, which was at Ascari, I used something different, and I was going to record a video of that race because I won, and it was a very unlikely car. And when I went to hit the replay button, I realised I'd hit the wrong bloody button, and I'd hit retry the race, and basically lost my replay because I hadn't saved it. Duh! So I thought, bollocks to that. I'd had several goes to be able to win that race in that car, and I thought, I'm not doing it again. Let's go on to the next race, which is the Nurburgring. And if you played this game, you know that the Nurburgring is hyper challenging. It's twisty, it's turny, yeah. You know, hills and gradients here, there and everywhere, and it's bumpy, and you got bumps in the middle of corners and sharp corners and sweeping corners, and you name it. It is really, really bloody challenging, and it's narrow, and the other cars are aggressive. And when you're on a circuit like this, you need a car that not only handles well, but that is stable. It's got to be stable to handle the bumps. Because if you're going around a corner, like a lot of these, and you're giving it some beans, and you hit a bump, or you hit the curb, you got to know that your car is going to let you get away with it. And that big super duper funky Mercedes thing would have fit the bill perfectly. I could have just walked it in that. So I thought, I ain't doing that. And I used the same car that I used on the Ascari race. And I haven't told you what it is yet. And I'm gonna, I think, let you see the whole of this first lap before I tell you what I'm driving. So we've got about half a lap left. What do you think? What am I driving? It is not in any way an appropriate car for this circuit against this kind of competition. I mean, you see what I'm up against here. There's an Audi. I don't know if it's probably not an R8, is it? Some kind of I think that's a Beamer in front of me. I'm up against touring cars, and the cars in front, and I think there are a couple of them, are like McLaren F1s, and we're talking race cars, not just like tweaked road cars. Like one of them's a GT car, I'm pretty sure. So we're talking major super duper mega racing cars. that are designed for this kind of thing. I am not in that kind of thing. The car I am doing this race in is powerful. It has the performance points system thingamajig. Looking at that, it is my highest rated car, but it ain't really appropriate for this kind of race. I'm just gonna bob along for a little while until we get round the first lap, and then I'll show you what it is. It's fun, I'll tell you that. This first lap I was just kind of bobbing along thinking, yeah, I ain't gonna try too hard, I ain't gonna get very far in this, I'm not going to score very highly. I will tell you now, I didn't win. I tried, I really tried. But at this point I was just trying really hard just to stay on the track. You only get the very vaguest impression watching the video just how utterly unstable this car is. I spent about 3 hours tweaking the setup, and again it's all down, well actually the limited slip differential setting on this was easy. It was really easy. This is a car that will oversteer on the accelerator. It is a car that will oversteer on the brakes. It is a car that will oversteer if you don't do anything at all. Just go in a straight line. Sooner or later it's going to spin. It likes spinning even more than that Ferrari 512. It's just in standard form, straight out of the box. It is a nippy little fun thing. But if you take it round a big wide sweeping corner, it will just throw you into the bushes. The first time I drove it, well, played it, was at it was the Matterhorn. Yeah, that worked really well, right up until it threw me damn near off the side of the mountain. So, have you guessed? What do you think? If my name was Jeremy Clarkson, it would be raining, because it was when he was driving it. Are you ready? Here's a wrong button. Well, there you go. I've just given it away. If you read that down at the bottom there. Actually, I'll edit that. There. Right. Okay. That's a clue. It's an open top. It's a track day car. It's orange. It's a crossbow. It's the KTM crossbow. It's a track day car. I mean, this thing is meant to go up against things like Caterham 7s and Westfields and what's that Radical car. It's that kind of thing. It's not meant to go up against, well, the kind of stuff that it is up against. Let's have another. There we go. It's a mental thing, totally. But the settings I've got dialed into this thing to make it drivable are extreme, very, very extreme, and they're not what you would think. Because the kind of standard setting you have on a track day car, if you're going to be on a track and not on the road, is you lower the suspension and you set the spring rate really hard, and you dial up the damping, rebound and compression. You put them to make the suspension really stiff, so there's not a lot of travel, but it's stiff. And you have like your what do you call it, anti-roll bars set uber stiff. And that's great if you're on a racetrack, like a nice tight twisty racetrack that's smooth as a billiard table. But of course the Nordschleif isn't. So I've done completely the opposite. I have got the suspension set really long travel, really soft spring rate, absolute minimum damping, minimum what do you call it, anti-roll bars. They're down at something like 1. it's just set up really soft and really high, while the slippy diff is just set maximum everything. And so long as you're really careful how you drive, it will stay on the track, just barely. It took quite a long while of just tinkering to work out what was going to work with it, because it's not an obvious setup. Certainly your boy racer technique is just stiffen up everything and make it as low as you possibly can, but you do that here, and the bumps just, you leave the road, and you don't want to be leaving the road. You want your tyres on the road as long as, or you know, as much as possible, so soften it all up. The tyres leave a lot to be desired. These are racing slicks, but they're hard, so they're not uber grippy, and they do have a nasty habit of just, they load up and they grip and they grip and they grip, but then they don't slide. It would be nice if they would be like progressive, and you know, you go from grip to slowly sliding, and then, you know, having less grip gradually. But no, it doesn't do that. It's grip, 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 splat, you're in the wall. And this thing, it does tank slappers. It's like it starts to slide, you counter steer, you turn into the slide, and then it just throws you off the other way really quickly. There are a few points in this race which you won't be able to see from this this view. That was probably one of them. Tank slappers are a thing in this car. There are a couple of places in this race where I was going all the way down the straight, just trying for all the world not to fly off, because it was having a tank slapper. It was like counter steer one way, counter steer the other, and oh, it's hard, but it was really exhilarating. And I did think, I don't actually know what lap times I did. Oh god, nearly had a bit of a moment there. Oh god. Just watching it, I'm pushing now, because I'm thinking, okay, I'm on my second lap. There are, I think at this point, there are about 6 cars in front of me, 5 or 6, and I want to get past them before I cross the line. And this, I'm thinking, is going to be the final lap. It's a 15-minute thing, and it's not really the kind of record-breaking car where I'm going to be getting round in like less than 7 minutes or whatever. So it's only going to be 2 laps. That's what I thought. So I was really going for it at this point. I mean, my heart was in my mouth, really. Adrenaline absolutely pumping, because it's on a knife edge all the way around. And I want to finish. I'd had several abortive runs before doing this one, where I'd spun out, thrown it into the scenery, and it's like, okay, I'd got through my first lap and was alright, I hadn't thrown it all away. Here I was coming up towards the end of the second lap, not too far to go, think I might just make it, and you know, the adrenaline is really going, and it's having a moment on nearly every corner, because I've got it on the ragged edge, loads, and you get the gear indicator that tells you what gear you're meant to be in, and half the time I'm a gear higher than I'm meant to be, and just sort of hanging on by the skin of my teeth. Nitrous oxide down the straight, I've got it geared up to do 199 mph, which is pretty good for a track day car. I mean, this thing is designed for going like round Brands Hatch or something, like one of the smaller circuits. Definitely not a place like this. What I was pleased with was to get down that straight, and I mean, you get that kink to the left where you, well, I slowed down for it. I don't dare take it flat out in this car, but I expected it to spit me off there, and it didn't. I was very pleased. And there we are, lap 3. I was just under 15 minutes when I crossed the line. It was 14:50 something, I think. I don't know exactly. Whatever. I hadn't hit 15 minutes, so I got a third lap. I was gobsmacked. This car in front of me is in, I think he might actually be in second place. I could be wrong, but anyway. At this point, I was damn near having a heart attack, because I didn't expect to still be racing, and I was so relieved to get around the second lap without crashing, and it was like, oh my god, I've got to do it all over again. I can't possibly do that. I'm dying here. I mean, there was sweat was there sweat pouring off me? Maybe not, but I was almost hyperventilating. I was just way, you know, edge of the seat, nervous wreck. It does look a lot better, actually. You get an impression of the speed and everything watching it like this rather than the external view. So apologies to those who want an external view, but they look all nice and scenic and everything. But you don't get the, oh my god, that thing's really moving. And you don't really see it when I have a moment and nearly throw it all away. And there were plenty of those. This particular part of the circuit, the first bit of the circuit in this car, actually in any car, is horrible. It's too bumpy, it's too narrow, it's scary. It's the place I'm most likely to have an off. Whoops. How the car stayed going forwards there, I do not know. The funny thing is, a lot of the places where I find myself going off aren't tight corners. They're actually subtle kinks where you can't see where the road is going. It's like you got a gentle kink but down a hill, and I find myself being caught out and positioned badly on the road so that I clip a curb and that's it. I either spin out right there and then, or I end up on the grass and again spin out. Ooh. There are a few points, I don't know if I had any in this race, but certainly in some of the races where I was trying to do this, where I did go onto the grass. That's McLaren F1. There's another one ahead of him, I think. Yeah, there were a number of points where I did end up on the grass and just kept me nerve, kept it like going in a straight line and backed off as much as I could without putting it into a spin until I could get back onto the track. And it's scary, you know, if you're having a good race, putting it onto the grass and just trying not to spin out, it's nerve-wracking. It's got just watching this now. I mean, I'm not playing it now. This is a replay, obviously, but it gets my adrenaline going just watching it. It's bloody awesome. The people who actually race this circuit in real cars have got to be, oh my god, tank slapper there. They have got to have balls the size of grapefruit. I mean, it scares me just playing the video game. Imagine doing this in some kind of mega hypercar thing, and people, you know, they do race on it. It's they don't do Grand Prix on it since Niki Lauda's fire, but it is still raced on. You've got to be one seriously brave person to race here, I think. It's bloody terrifying. I'm always reminded of that episode of Top Gear where that German woman goes round it in a transit. And she does she do it in 10 minutes? Was that her target? I think so. Clarkson had gone round in 10 minutes in a Jag, and she said she could do it in a van, and then she went and did it in a transit. It is fun actually to try and go round the circuit in improbable vehicles. I did it in I did it in what was basically a sooty van. I don't know if it was a Suzuki or something or other. That was on Gran Turismo 4, I think. I went round it in a van. Ooh. just for the hell of it. I think I did it on the PSP. It was some funny three-wheeled thing. I don't know who made it or whatever, but it was like one of those weird delivery tricycle things. And I went round it on in one of them. That was amusing. It certainly wasn't fast, but it was fun. It is one of those oh god, tank slapper. It is one of those circuits where I will play it just for the hell of racing this circuit. You know, never mind going for a championship or racing in a series or anything like that. I just love this circuit, and I actually prefer it in cars like this that are not ideally suited to it and that aren't too fast. As you get into the game, obviously the cars get faster, you get more powerful cars, better handling cars and blah blah, and I don't like those so much. I prefer sort of oh dear, the heart in throat again, trying to in mouth even, trying not to spin there. Yes, I like sort of medium kind of speed cars on all of the circuits, but particularly this one where you've got time to think. Anything much faster than this for me on this circuit is just too fast. I want to be able to get round it without spinning off, and at about this sort of pace I can manage it. So I mean, yeah, you could go around uber mega fast in one of those Red Bull X cars, but it's not the same, and they're not real. I want a real car. I mean, maybe it's tweaked and tuned to a level that's like, I don't know, probably not entirely realistic, but whatever, the physics are still realistic even if the engine tuning isn't. And the Red Bull cars, they're not real, so I don't really... Yeah, I'd rather do it in something like this. There it is. Probably have more Gran Turismo before the week's out. That is the Nurburgring Nordschleif in a KTM crossbow. It's mental. I wish I could tell you how fast did I do it in. What did that say? 22 minutes and 32. And that's 3 laps. So I don't know what that works out as per lap. It's a shame I can't get a rundown of the lap times, but never mind. Yeah, probably have more Gran Turismo before this week is out. Anyway, I'll shut up. I'm actually really bloody tired, so if I appear incoherent at any point, I barely even know what my name is. Okay, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking the thumbs up button. I upload videos daily, so go ahead and hit subscribe if you'd like to see more. To all those who've already subscribed, I'd just like to say a great big thank you.